candidates to come forward who are here. We want to start this evening with Bob McDevitt. Good evening.
Good evening.
You have welcome, and we're so glad that you decided to come out for this candidates evening. You have this evening 2 minutes to, as an introduction, and to tell us anything that you would like us to know about you as a candidate for mayor. And then the question will begin. So please tell us.
Great. Thank you. Well, other people have to tell you who I am. It's hard to say who you really are. But I will say this. My family has lived in this town. In fact, my great-grandfather was a Methodist. I believe worshipped in this church. And my great-grandmother was Italian and Catholic. And she was from Ducktown. And they had four boys and four girls, including my grandmother was one of the girls. And every Sunday they switched churches. They would go to the Methodist service, and then the next Sunday they would go to the Catholic service. Then when they became 11, 12 years old, they had to choose whether they're going to be a Methodist or a Catholic. And all the boys became Methodists and all the girls became Catholics. I remember my grandmother telling me the reason why she decided she was going to be a Catholic was because they sang better music. Now, that's a long time ago, 100 years ago or more. But that's the kind of city this is. Because Catholics and Methodists did not mix 100 years ago. So Atlantic City has always been that melting pot. It's been a city that I have loved because my family has spent so much time here. And, one of the greatest joys I had was moving from Pleasantville, where I lived for 7 years, back into Atlantic City in 1993. And I know once I went back over that bridge and came onto the island, in my heart, my mind, I said, there's only one way I'm going back out, and that's in a box, because I'm never going to move from the island again. Because once you smell that air, once you feel that feeling of living here and know the families and grow up the way I did, I'm so fortunate. There's no reason to live anywhere else. And I now have a son who is 5 years old, who is the reason why I'm thinking about the future.
All right, thank you. Tell us a bit about what makes you uniquely qualified to serve as the mayor of Atlantic City.
Well, look, I don't think you need to have amazing skills to be the mayor and to be successful. I think to be a successful leader, number one, you got to be honest with the people who you lead. And never forget, you're leading them because they are letting you lead them. You're not in charge of those people. They're really in charge of you. I spent 20 years working in the casino industry as a bartender and a waiter and a busboy and a barback. And I spent a little under 30 years as president of Local 54. And I learned to really love diversity in this city. I love the city, the history of this city, and I could spend not as much as Mr. Johnson, but I could spend a lot of time talking about that as well.
Thank you. The state takeover of Atlantic City has been extended. What do you see as the pros and cons of that takeover?
But there's not a lot of pros about the takeover of Atlantic City because it has not been successful. Clearly, anyone who lives here knows that it has not been a successful experiment. Now, at the time, I thought it should, I was for that takeover. It wasn't, you know, it was a choice, the direction the city was going, I didn't like it. And as a citizen, I felt that it was something you should take a chance on because what had happened in the previous 20 years was not good either. And I find that as I think of what's happened since then, you know, we're really sort of running in place here. We were running in place without the state takeover. We're running in place with the state takeover. I think that what we have to do is stop looking outside of the city to find solutions. We need to get those solutions from within. And I think that that's my major thought on that topic.
Thank you. Atlantic City has over 2,400 tax-exempt parcels at an assessed value that is more than double the assessed value of taxable parcels. Do you have a plan to reduce the number of tax-exempt parcels? And what ways can we increase the rateable base in the city?
Thank you for that question. The taxable parcels in the city, you know, the largest connected parcels are the Wall. The Wall got a 100-year tax abatement. We can't do anything at the Wall and derive any tax income from it. At least it's for another, I guess it'll be 80 years from now. So that's off the table. There's nothing you can do to change that. Unless the state or the owners, Tanger Outlets, want to start paying taxes on it, they have no obligation to do that. And I think that's a big example of a lot of that's happened in every neighborhood in the city and every ward in the city where there has not been a cohesive plan to move the city forward. And I think that everybody shares that responsibility, including myself. And I believe that we also share a responsibility to change that direction. There's no reason for a city that used to be almost 70,000 people to now have just a little over 30,000 and not be able to build housing.
Thank you. You now have a minute for closing to cover questions I perhaps didn't ask you or anything that you feel that the folks here need to know about you as a candidate for mayor.
Well, it's hard to do that in a minute, but I'll do my best. Raising 6 kids in the city has been a pleasure, and it's been a real opportunity because this is a very diverse city. It's a much different city than it was when I had my first daughter, my only one daughter, and that was 38 years ago. The city has changed dramatically with the ethnicity of the city, with where people come from. We're much more diverse now than we were then. We were very diverse then. But now with the different communities from South Asia who have moved in here, you know, there is an opportunity to turn this city back towards a city of 40,000, 50,000. When we get that kind of population and the city starts filling up, you have a tax base, you don't need to depend on gimmicks and stuff to make the city work.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob McDevitt.